Thank you so much for staying with us, everyone. Let's get straight on this matter now. We begin with the invitation and the appearance of two federal high court judges, Muhammad Nasser Yunusa and Adizira Ngijiwa, who reported to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission office earlier today. The judges arrived at the Commission's Lagos office today about 10:05 a.m. following an invitation letter the EFCC extended to them. Their invitation is secret to the bribery and money laundering allegations the Commission discovered while investigating a case in which two senior lawyers have already been arraigned. On March 9, the EFCC had arraigned two senior advocates, Ricky Tafa and Joseph Onwobike, before a Lagos High Court on allegations of bribery and offering gratification to a public official. Subsequently, investigations revealed that the two judges allegedly received sums of money from the two senior lawyers severally. Several days ago, homes of several judges across the country were raided by the DSS, an action which has generated a series of reactions from within the bar and the bench on the street also. The debate has been whether or not the DSS by law is allowed to carry out such operation, which they termed sting operation. Is particularly beyond the EFCC today, and perhaps a busy day for the Commission, because yet another high-profile case is being attended to today, perhaps as we speak. A former Minister of State for Defense and a former Lagos governorship aspirant, Senator Musiliu Obanikoro, whom everybody, most people in Lagos know as Koro, appeared at the EFCC's office to honor an invitation the anti-graft agency extended to him. The former minister has been out of the country shortly since after the party lost, the PDP lost the general election in 2015. There are reports that it may be appearing to answer questions on the investigation by the FCC, which it has been carrying out on the alleged scandal on the funds meant for the procurement of arms for the Nigerian military. Some of the funds that has been allegedly spent to prosecute the 2015 election by the party or some elements in the PDP. The FCC has continued to probe the matter and currently arraigning some major personalities said to be involved in that case. Well, let's get perspectives to this matter now as we move swiftly. A legal practitioner and rights activist, Malachi Ogumado, joins us in the studio. Many thanks for coming on the program. A lot of people have been talking about the manner in which these judges, let's begin with the incident of today, these two federal high court judges. We've heard this case involving these senior advocates, Ricky Tafa and Nwobike. One will wonder, to what extent do you think that the judiciary, Professor Sesage said that lawyers have corrupted, your colleagues, your friends said to have corrupted the bench. Is that true?
Well, I'm not in that category, so I cannot confirm. But what is rife, which is no longer within the realm of speculation, is that there are incidents of corruption in the judiciary, which is quite very unfortunate.
How bad?
Well, to the extent that we have had some reports by well-seasoned, well-meaning Nigerians. I reference Kayode Esho's report, in which he categorically denounced the situation in which some judges are now known to be billionaires, call them billionaire judges, who partook in election matters. We've had the Oputa intervention. We have also even the NJC, which is the institution that self-regulates the judiciary, take sundry positions on issues of discipline and professional misconduct, including corrupt activities. We have had all of it. In other words, it is not in dispute any longer that that problem does exist in the judiciary. And that is perhaps very unfortunate as far as some of us are concerned. It is almost like hearing it as a parishioner, that the reverend, who is supposed to be in charge of the flock and giving direction, moral direction and rectitude to the congregation, is found wanting. I believe that it is no longer a rumor. It has been confirmed both in reports and even the proceedings and reports of the Nigerian Judicial Council itself.
We've seen the NJC a few weeks ago recommending punishment, some disciplinary measures on some judges. But again, one will wonder, are these not enough? Does it look like the NJC does not have that weight and the strength to prosecute disciplinary measures or to sanitize the judicial system?
The National Judicial Council is a creation of law. It is one of the institutions under Section 153 of the Constitution that has its powers clearly spelled out, again, in the schedule of the Constitution. Its mandate does not include the prosecution of offenses alleged to have been committed, particularly when they go beyond the issues of professional misconduct. However, they receive petitions, they investigate those petitions, and they make recommendations to the appropriate agencies of government to take the next actions. Those actions could come in the form of reprimand, they can come in the form of suspension, they can come in the form of dismissal, or even outright recommendation for prosecution. And we've seen it in bits. And the question is, are they sufficient to tame the incidence of corruption and malfeasance in the judiciary? The answer is certainly no.
I mean, we look at the situation, this very one involving that the EFCC is investigating, involving these two Federal High Court judges, involving these two senior advocates of Nigerians, because according to Professor Isesage, he says it's the senior lawyers at the bar who perpetrated the kind of fraud and the kind of corruption that we've seen in the judiciary, being talked about in the judiciary. But again, you look at the number of the kind of camaraderie some of these senior lawyers on the day that this case was heard in court. Does it look like is a prosecution against the judiciary, or the prosecution, this anti-graft war is truly being fought?
In a sense, this whole situation and time has been characterized by those who are conscious of social evolution, socio-political evolution of a society as a class struggle. The one you reference is on point, namely that you could see the army of very senior, distinguished lawyers who came in support of some of their colleagues who were arraigned before the court. The question is, as at this moment, given the avalanche of evidence that are coming out, given the body of evidence that has been put forward, are they still as much as the initial number when the whole thing kicked off? And I think that this is precisely some of the concern that the society is already assessing. And I make the point, which I've made in your sister organization, that look, the whole notion of justice as a primary condition for civilization in any society is eroded completely once the public out there perceives that justice no longer exists. You don't lose it at the point where the judgment is given, whether correctly or per curiam. You lose it at the point where the society, the masses, have lost confidence in that process. And I think that is precisely where we are, where the rumor of corruption creeping into the hallowed precincts of our courts have become rife, where individual litigants are walking away from the court premises, believing that justice was not done, where, as it were, you can be the best of the lawyers, you can quote all the laws that is available to you, and ultimately, the end of justice may tilt in favor of those who can procure it. But let me make this very important point, namely that in Nigeria today, for those of us who are practicing, we can attest to the fact that the majority of the Nigerian judges are not just upright, they're diligent, hardworking. As I say, many of them are even sick on account of their total dedication to their work. And I believe, that it will be very unfortunate if a tiny number, not up to 1 or 2% of them, can bring this shame and odium and opprobrium to the entire institution as a body. And I think in that wise, quite a number of judges, both sitting and retired. You had Honorable Justice Samson Waifu only yesterday on your station, lampooning his colleagues who are still in the bench, insisting that it was completely wrong, that such stories can be made in the corridors of judiciary.
Mr. Gumadu is still with us, talking about the corruption in judiciary and what we've seen today. We'll be talking about that much more when we return from this break. More on the Buhari government's activities on anti-graft war. Join us again.
My lords, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, not to detract from this occasion, it is indeed very saddening and deeply regrettable that the distressing and unfortunate incident which occurred on Friday, 7th October, and Saturday, 8th October, 2016, regarding the affairs of the judiciary. However, I must ask all Nigerians to remain calm and prayerful as emergency meeting the National Judicial Council will be taking place tomorrow, will comprehensively look into the matter.
The NBA rejects these explanations and justifications that these so-called surgical operations were targeted at corruption and not the judiciary. We find it absurd that the presidency will accept assurances for the DSS that it followed all due process of the law. We maintain our position that these operations are illegal and unconstitutional. I want to reiterate that the position of the bar is not aimed at protecting any judge. We are not shielding any judges from investigation from charges of corruption. The resolve of the NBA on the fight against corruption is unwavering. We are clear that raiding houses of judges of the Supreme Court in the middle of the night by masked armed men is not the way to go. We do not accept it. This portends real danger to Nigerian democracy. It is contrary to all civilized norms and accepted standards. The human experience, I dare say, has not shown us that there is any better or sustainable way to deal with any human problem rather than through rigorous adherence to due process and the rule of law.